I have been thinking about the collapse of empire, and it occurs to me that it could be a case of a stab in the back. Maybe others have already considered this. It occurred to me as I look around the West today. I see governments inflicting harm and weakness on their own people. It does not strike me as collapse of its own accord. Consider the rise of empire. Lots of little communities exist. Let's say that they each have a strength of 1, as if we were wargaming it. These little units band together for mutual support. Their strength increases. Now we have fewer, but larger groups. These join too over time. Either it is peaceful or by conquest. Maybe one group declares war now, while they think that they can win, rather than delay and risk being outmatched later. Maybe one group already has a massive advantage and war is no big deal. Eventually we have a vast empire. Let us give it a strength of 100 and a wealth of 125. The 25 is the leadership, the 1%, and the rest of society has the rest of the wealth. There are neighbors outside of the empire, but they are weak. They do not present a threat to the empire. Now comes the stab in the back. Suppose the 1% wants to have 30 points of wealth and not 25. They must take it from the 99%, but there is a problem. The empire grew because it was set up such that the people could protect what they had. Any group that could not protect itself is long gone or too weak to matter. How can you steal from this group? You must weaken its systems, people, institutions, etc., so that they cannot protect themselves. The elites weaken the group by, say, 5 points. The strength is 95, and the leadership takes 5 points of wealth. Why stop at 30? The next strongest group only has a strength of 20, so 95 is overkill. Why not bring it down to 90, 85, and so on? Eventually, the empire must collapse. The elite will take that last cut too much. The strength will fall below 20, and then the empire can be overcome. However, the elites by now have a wealth of over 100. They can buy mercenaries and land, and give themselves a strength of 50 and a wealth of 50 or more. They have come out ahead. They were at 25, and now at 50 or more. And they are still stronger than their neighbors. And all it cost was the empire. I think that we are seeing this mechanism now. Since 1991, America and NATO has been the last empire standing. They had a massive strength advantage, and they have been weakening and stealing ever since. Or maybe it started in 1945 or even 1918. Why don't the elites start the steal earlier? Why do they wait for their society to become strong and then have to go through the bother of weakening it? They need to start when their empire is so much stronger than everyone else that they can get away with it and make a profit. No point in starting if your strength is 100 and your neighbor is at 80. What does the weakening entail? Consider a strong society. It is strong today, tomorrow, and yesterday. Today the people are healthy, educated, skilled, they can afford what they need, they can protect themselves, and they can use the system to do what they need to do. If they want to build a house, then they can afford it. If they want to send a letter, there is a working postal system. If they want to travel, then there are roads and bridges and cars and fuel. If there is crime, then they can protect themselves or a policeman will do it. If they want society to be a certain way, then they can arrange it through government. They are strong in the future. They can have children easily. The children will be taught the skills needed to be strong when they grow up. The laws, rules, etc. protect the systems and institutions from corruptions and inefficiency, such that they will still run efficiently in future. Debt is low. Meritocracy and innovation is encouraged. Infrastructure is built to last. They are strong yesterday, in other words, in the past. The people are different from other people, the group separate from other groups. The group overcame the other groups. The things that made it different made it strong. For it to be strong in the future, it must remain different in the future, and preserve the ways in which it is different. Its traditions, culture, heritage are preserved. Monuments are built to the past, and achievements are celebrated. More monuments are built in the present to be handed on to the future. Art, music, architecture, and so on. The people are strong today. They could fight a war today if they had to. They are strong tomorrow. They could fight a war tomorrow. They are strong yesterday. They are willing to fight a war today or tomorrow. What do our elites do? They attack our yesterday. They attack our tomorrow by making the institutions and infrastructure poor and weak. They attack us today. Vital skills rely on immigrants or are sent overseas. Education is dumbed down. Property is unaffordable. Gun ownership is limited. Farming is being phased out. Cash is being phased out. There is no way, increasingly, to live outside the system, and the system exists only to make the elite richer and more powerful. It looks like a stab in the back. There are other reasons why empires collapse. Perhaps the IQ falls, and so the people are no longer smart enough to keep a complicated empire running. Or perhaps the people suffer from civilizational exhaustion and can't be bothered keeping it running. Or maybe it is met with some catastrophe, a famine or a disease that wipes out so many people that whatever's left cannot stand. But looking at our empire today, the West, it looks as though it's being destroyed deliberately and not falling apart on its own.
Eddie! Whoa! What the hell you doing?
17 million 4 ways.
What?
I'm too greedy for that, Eddie.
No, just come on, man.